Kirsten Vaughn, a humble mechanic at an Indiana mechanic shop, got fired because of her OnlyFans account. According to Buzzfeed, her colleagues watched her OnlyFans account at work. When the bosses found out, they fired her. Is this the real story? Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I'm your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. And today we're talking about Kirsten Vaughn, who got fired from her mechanic's job in Indiana after her bosses discovered she had an OnlyFans account. And if you're wondering, I did not grow headphones. I actually have one of her co-workers on the line here to talk about it. And so what I'd like to do is bring him on and introduce you guys to Jeff, who is a mechanic in the same shop that she is. Hey, Jeff, how's it going, man?
It's going, man. It's an honor to be here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So I tweeted about this the other day because I thought this article was just hilarious. And then you responded in the tweets that you actually work at the shop. You know her, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's fair to say.
Yeah, very fair.
And that this article was kind of nonsense.
Oh, yeah. Beyond nonsense.
So I asked if you'd come on the show to talk about it, and here we are. So first, let's talk a little bit about you. So you are Jeff. You work at the same shop in Indiana as what's her name? Kirsten used to work.
Yes. So I've been with the dealership. My start date was actually June 1st, 2017.
Okay.
Or August 1st, 2017. And my end date actually is going to be at the end of this week, Saturday. So roughly May 3rd is the day that I'm not going to be there anymore.
Okay, so you're no longer. Did you open an OnlyFans? Are you getting fired too?
I thought about it, but it doesn't work that way for guys. Unfortunately, fun fact: she actually told me that too. She's like, I feel bad for guys; they can't do the same thing I do to make money, and I'm like,
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So you're leaving for different reasons, just kind of personal reasons, I'm guessing.
My fiance finished school. One of the reasons we moved up here was because she had schooling because she's a good woman and actually went through her doctorate program for pharmacy. So she decided she was going to make her money without taking her clothes off.
Well, congratulations to her and best wishes on that.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so as far as this goes, what the one thing that I want to kind of touch on first, because I think the article skews this. Mm-hmm. When did all of this happen?
When did she get fired, or like so roughly it was about the mid-February.
Okay,
go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
So this is mid-February that she gets fired, because the article and her tweet leave the implication that this happened recently, and they're comparing it to the deluge of women, according to several articles, that have opened up OnlyFans accounts to kind of make ends meet and do something during coronavirus. But she was doing this long before the corona pandemic had really taken effect.
Right, yeah. So mechanics usually get paid flat rate because she just moved up from what we call pupping mentorship. She was still hourly. So even if she didn't make a full 40 hours flat rate time, she'd still get paid for 40 hours. So it wasn't like she was hurting money if a job wasn't done.
Oh, okay. So she opens up this account. Do you know when she actually opened it?
That I don't know the exact date, but from everything I've heard and read, it was about January this year when she decided to start it up.
Right. And as the article lays out, it was discovered that she had an OnlyFans account. How did this discovery take place?
So personally, she told me, because I do like a little side gig on the internet as well. And it kind of got around that I do it, just video game streaming, nothing too risque. And she's like, oh yeah, so I do this. And then that's when we got on the conversation about it. And I'm like, I really don't have anything against, e-girls. I don't think it's a good idea by any sense, but whatever you want to do, that's your risk and your reward.
Sure. So she's had this thing since at least January, and then she told you about it. But you're not the only coworker that she mentioned this to, right?
Oh, no, any person that she considered an ally, she told about.
Gotcha.
And it really, okay, so there was like 2 different incidents. They did mention that the salesmen were talking about it. I have no love lost for these salesmen. They are some grimy, sketchy dudes.
Nobody likes car salesmen.
Yeah, so there's a couple there that are all right, but like they're the type of people, like, you're trying to drive a car to a customer and they'll walk right in your way, look you in the face, and walk as slow as they can possibly.
Sure.
But a friend actually walked up to a group of salesmen, and the article did get that right. That's where a couple different people found out. But once she decided to own up to it, that's when she decided to tell whoever she considered as an ally.
So these were guys looking at the OnlyFans account at work, or were they just talking about it?
They were looking at it at work.
Okay, gotcha. Were they all fired immediately?
No, unfortunately, it's kind of hard to prove like which ones were doing it unless like somebody snitches.
Right. The other thing is, that's just a difficult question on the company's internet use policy, but who knows how they want to enforce that? But you can't fire your whole.
We do have you can't look up just anything on the company's internet. There are web blocks on.
Sure.
So
okay,
if
so
it's on cellular data, you can do whatever you want, obviously.
So they must have been on their phones doing this.
Yeah, it was just on the phones.
Okay, and you sent me a screenshot. Now this screenshot is not to you, but I want to go back to laying a little bit of foundation that she's had this OnlyFans account since at least January, and she was sharing it to coworkers. This is from a different coworker, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm putting it up on the screen now. You can't see it, but the audience will be able to. And here it is, Kirsten Vaughn, and it's got her sharing the OnlyFans as of January 15th to this individual. So her little statement about not knowing how people got the OnlyFans account's a little bit weird, but she also shared it to her Instagram stories. She
actually had I don't know what to call it, like being a streamer links where you click it and it has all your links there. It's essentially that. So right. It had her Twitter, her OnlyFans, and there was something else, but it was linked to her Instagram. So if you went to her Instagram, you clicked a banner, you could find anything you wanted to do about it.
Right. So that's so she was advertising it on her Instagram. She has her Twitter account. Now, did people know her Twitter account, or is her Twitter account like a throwaway only for her?
I think because I'm new to Twitter altogether, but I think it started off as her personal Twitter, and then once she decided to go full time with this, that's when she decided to turn it into a risque Twitter. Sure.
Now let's talk a little bit about this idea that she was fired for having an OnlyFans. Do you want to speak to that notion? Because that's the narrative, right? Woman engages in sex work, is immediately fired because she has an OnlyFans as soon as the bosses find out. But I don't think that sounds like the true story.
No. So I've actually talked to my manager about this. He's a pretty cool, honest dude. So he was pretty hurt by this whole thing going on because he talked her up. And she was on the company's Facebook page talking about how great it was to be a woman in tech that works there. And this, it's hard for women, like a total feminist rallying cry for, how great this place was. The manager straight up told me, I didn't care. I don't care what you do. Now, granted, it's in our handbook that you can't do stuff like that. Anything that you do reflects on the company.
Right. Shocker. Most companies don't actually want their employees showing up naked.
Yeah.
Especially if they're identifiable as an employee of the company.
Right. But he straight up said, I don't care what she did out of her time. The fact that she was in company uniform and did it on company time in the company's bathroom. Like, apparently she was making diddling herself videos in this bathroom stalls at there. Now, I don't have access to the OnlyFans because I'm a rational human that just use Google.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard that. I've heard that she was on company time and on company property making some of the videos. And that, of course, is a much more plausible reason to let someone go. But even without that, there is according to the employee handbook, you're telling me, and this is pretty common in various levels of corporate America. There's often some sort of thing. What you do off your time on the company can reflect back on the company if people know it's you. So you got to watch what you post on Facebook. You have to watch what you tweet out. That's part of the hazards of communicating in society publicly these days. But can you tell us anything about Kirsten? I know you mentioned like they call her a master, or she's on track to becoming a master technician. And you mentioned also that that there's like a feminist rallying cry on the Facebook posts and stuff like that. And she's lauded in the article as she was the first, or she was going to be the first woman or something to do. I don't even remember. What does it say?
She was going to be the first female master tech of Don Ayers in Don Ayers history.
Right. So can you talk about what that master tech stuff, what's that all about?
So basically the way you move up is you get your Honda test done, and then you get shipped off to Honda school, which is about a week's long course where they just have you work on things and engage your competence and make sure you're doing things the right way that the dealership and Honda wants you to do. Technically, I'm a lube tech, and a few other people are lube techs. And the reason I say that is because I'm on track to be a master tech. They're on track to be master techs. You know, to be on track to be a master tech is just basically a catch-all, because that's how the general manager wants things done. He wants everybody to be certified, and then when the time comes, you just move up.
Okay, so her becoming or being on track to be a master technician, this isn't some special status that she had afforded to her because of her hard work. Was she actually a hard worker though? I mean, the article portrays her as like
she was an all right worker. Like she was competent. She did her job, you know, to the best of her abilities.
Sure.
But towards this Onlyfans, you know, debacle, there'd be days where she'd come in all dolled up and then be gone in the bathroom for 20, 30 minutes. Nobody, like the master tech was like, I didn't know where the hell Kirsten was, and I needed her to do things like.
Oh, so this is actually also impacting her job performance.
Yes.
Very, very interesting. It's shocking what comes out. What do you? So you've read the Buzzfeed article, right?
Oh God, yeah.
What's your biggest issue with that Buzzfeed article?
So the biggest issue I have with the Buzzfeed article is they paint the picture that there's victims in the whole company, and that the whole company is a bunch of sexual deviants. And, you know, besides for the salesmen, they're completely off track. Everybody gets what respect. You get what you give in the company. If you give respect and you're there and you do your job, they have no problem being nice and kind and affording you whatever you need. With this COVID stuff, they actually told us that if we wanted to, we could take our vacation days to kind of, you know, pad out our paychecks.
Right.
So it's an all around good culture. There's some bad apples. I mean, every job has bad apples.
Of course.
The one girl they briefly mentioned with the police report. So she was pressured by Kirsten into doing her OnlyFans. Now, granted, she only had like 1 or 2 fans because, you know, body types and, you know, all that, you know,
sure.
I'm not going to go too far into it. But this is all speculation. She possibly could have been sexually assaulted like the thing claims, because I heard, you know, the rumor mill. So right. I can't really say for sure. And if it's an ongoing investigation, I'm not going to say for sure. But the person that is rumored to do it, this ain't his first ring around the rosy with being just a complete pig.
Right.
Another female tech who she's a lube tech as well. She's also said that this whole situation makes her look bad, because now people are going to look at her like she doesn't want to actually work and move up. But one of the people, or the person in question, has made snide comments about her. Now, she doesn't have an OnlyFans, so he didn't ask her, you know, what would $20 get me?
Right.
But, you know, he said enough where just hearing the rumor, I was like, I kind of believe it, but I don't want to say, because, you know, you got to have proof.
Right. So this is the part that gets me is her telling the story about not being sure how management found out about this or whatever. So she says, after that, she said some of the men started showing her videos to other employees in the shop. And this is after she posts about it on her Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I had a coworker come up to me and he was telling me how the salesmen were all huddled up in a group and that he had come up to the group and they were on an Onlyfans page, she recalled. And he said that he didn't know it was me until they passed by a picture of my face. And he said, I've seen a lot of you. Oh, that's...
So yeah, that was said. It was worded and phrased a lot differently.
Sure.
To my knowledge, she kind of just owned up to it, and she's like, "Yeah, I do it, whatever." And that's how he basically found out about it.
So she says, "I was like, that's effing great, thanks. Show it to effing everybody." And she's saying that people were beginning to harass her online and in the shop.
Nobody was harassing her. If we were making snide jokes, we didn't say it to her face. We gave her that much respect, I guess.
Sure.
But nobody was harassing her. Salesmen might have been, because I don't know that department.
Right.
They could have. The salesmen and full-blown techs kind of work a little bit more closer together, especially since the salesmen are trying to sell maybe a used car and they need to talk to the tech about it.
Right.
And so on that end, I don't know too much about, but I know for the people that were her everyday work next to each other type people, we didn't say shit about it. She would actually come up to me and talk about, damn Instagram just messed my not safe for work page, even though I had it labeled as not safe for work. They went ahead and deleted it. And I'm like,
now she says,
why are you telling me this? Okay.
Right. Yeah. And that's an important part of the story, I think, because some people are tempted to automatically say, well, people shouldn't be talking to her about this stuff at work. That's inappropriate. But if she's communicating with others about it at work, that gives at least the impression that it's an open topic for conversation. Mm-hmm. She says that she begged people not to tell anybody, and they would laugh in her face and say, haha, we're helping you make money. Shut up.
I've never heard that.
Have you ever heard her ask people not to talk about her OnlyFans page?
Never heard about that either. As soon as she started making the money, I have her quoted saying that she made $1,200 in a month.
Right. So she was bragging about how much money she was making.
Yeah, she was braggadocious about it. She didn't really care once the big quote unquote secret was out.
Sure.
But if you're gonna link it to your Instagram, which is linked to your name, you should even go by a fake porn name or anything like that. She was just straight you typed in Kirsten Vaughn Instagram, you got her Instagram, and you can go to it.
Sure.
It wasn't hard to find.
Well, it looks like BuzzFeed completely botched the article.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like it was intended for a specific purpose. The timing, the headline, the tweet, all of that seems to kind of coincide together. And my understanding is that she has gained quite a following since this happened. Oh
yeah. So I didn't know what the number was at before the BuzzFeed article hit, but I checked it periodically just because, it's all ridiculous. And I'm one of those information sponges. I like listening and hearing and seeing everything I can look at and just, absorb it in.
Right.
She jumped up to at least 20K last time I checked. And she probably only had a few couple hundred. But of course,
on Instagram or on Twitter?
On Twitter.
Twitter, yeah. Yeah, I saw her Twitter account got very big. OnlyFans doesn't show on Patreon how much, or maybe that does and she deletes it. But I tried to find out how much she was making on OnlyFans. I can only assume it's gone up quite a bit since all this. Well, I guess that's all I've got. Do you have any closing thoughts about Kirsten, about the article, about the dealership? Oh, wait, I'm lying. I have one more kind of question. Since I don't think some people understand, to your knowledge, is Honda involved in any of this, or was this all localized to the dealership?
To my knowledge, this is all localized to the dealership. Nothing has been said about Honda yet. Granted, I'm not a higher up, so I'm not really in the loop.
Right.
But at the same time, my dealership is one of the top dealerships in Indiana and in the country, top 10 style dealership. They win the highest award you could win from Honda almost every year, and I think we've won it 10 years in a row. I think it's maybe 16 years total or something like that, and then 10 years in a row. They're very happy about it, which I can understand. It takes a while to be a good dealership.
Right.
especially in this day and age where the general consensus is a mechanic is trying to take advantage of you.
Yeah, they are.
But well, it depends on certain circumstances.
Look, they're almost as bad.
Tires are bad, and I'm like, hey, you need tires, and you go, I'm not buying tires from you. You try to take money. I'm like, look, I can see your exposed cords in your tire. You need new tires, bud.
I'm just saying, mechanics are almost as bad as lawyers. It's just a fact.
I mean, every stereotype there's a grain of truth in there.
Exactly. Sometimes a whole grain silo of truth.
But unfortunately, the dealership took a big hit. Like, I'm leaving. I shouldn't really care too much about the dealership now that it's going to be the next path on the step I take.
Right.
But at the same time, they don't deserve any of what they're getting. Their Facebook had like a 4.6 out of 5-star review, which is fairly high for a dealership.
Right.
When this BuzzFeed hit, within that day, it dropped to like 3.2, 3.1 with all the 1-star reviews. And you had all sorts of simps going, like, she should have been fired. And I'm like, cool, bro, she's still not going to bang you. It's
right. Yeah.
People from Kentucky, which so my hometown is like 2 hours from Fort Wayne. Fort Wayne's in northeastern Indiana. I'm from east central Indiana, closer to the Indianapolis state capitol.
Right.
Kentucky's a 2-hour drive from there, so it has to be at least a 4 to 5 hour drive from the border of Kentucky all the way to northeastern Indiana. And this chick was like, Kirsten Vaughn worked on my car. When I had to bring my car up there, it wasn't done up to standards, and I found out you fired her. Bring Kirsten Vaughn back. And I'm like, you're lying out your ass.
It's very easy to lie on the internet about, especially in review sections, which are really hard to, there's no way for the people to really police them effectively either.
I do gotta say, my favorite, there's 2 favorite reviews. Well, one, we had the parts department called, which I don't know why this person called the parts department, but they decided to call the parts department and leave a 5-minute voicemail calling us all rapists, which is hilarious. Last few days I've been making rape jokes, not like nonstop. Sure. Even the female tech I mentioned earlier, she's like making rape jokes and talking about banging people with her spiritual penis. And I'm like, awesome, cool. This is how it's going to be. But then, like, I guess one of the Yelp reviews, somebody said that I went in just to use the bathroom and come out and they're all banging my mom. Will not be back again. My mom might though.
Oh,
I'm like, thank you for that one. Thank you for that one.
All right. Do you have any, back to that original question, do you have any closing thoughts on any of the parties involved? I mean, it sounds like Kirsten's, I mean, she's now an e-girl or whatever, but it sounds like she was a decent worker, just a relatively friendly coworker.
Yeah, well, the problem is they gave her, they suspended her for a week, which is unheard of. They never suspend anybody. They just straight out fire you because Indiana's an at-will state. They don't have to have a reason. They gave her a week to kind of think about it, and they told her, I don't know if they told her delete the Honda stuff or delete the account in general. I'm more leaning to delete the Honda stuff just so it doesn't affect their brand.
But they gave her some sort of out.
Yeah, and she decided she wasn't going to do that, came in, told them to F off. When she came in, she came in wearing a statement, a tight red dress, fishnets, hooker boots, dolled herself up. It was totally kind of out of character, except for like social events like the Christmas party we go to and all that. Sure. So she came in to release a statement. And that statement was, I make more money doing OnlyFans. I'm going OnlyFans full time. And then she plays the victim that the dealership, I shouldn't say we because I had no control over it, but the dealership fired her over her OnlyFans when it was the fact that she was representing the brand, because her little stick to stand out from the other hoes is she's a mechanic.
Right. Well, man, I really appreciate it. Thanks, guys, for watching. Always be wary of Buzzfeed because they're an absolute dumpster of a publication. And now you know a little bit more of the story from Jeff, who worked alongside Kirsten for quite a while. So thanks a bunch, Jeff. And to the audience, we'll see you later. Peace.